Listen, I want y'all to be happy, and I want you to chase your dreams, and I want you to be all you can be. But please excuse me if I do not want to come to your giant swing and sex party.
Well, we always have an odd one in the crowd.
So it's kind of odd.
Decidedly odd.
Doesn't that strike you as a little bit odd?
No, that doesn't strike me as a little bit odd.
It's the Bob and Sheri Oddcast, with stuff we wouldn't, couldn't, or shouldn't do on the regular show. Now, here's the Oddcast.
I don't know, you guys. Maybe I'm just, a prude or just an exhausted person, or just I don't know. But as I'm reading, so much of what's in the news right now is so deranged and disturbing and vile. Like, there's the horrific mass rape case that's happening in France, where the woman was drugged into deep unconsciousness every night by her husband, who was advertising on the internet, and men were coming over and raping this woman while she was unconscious. And the husband told them, yeah, this is a little game we play. She likes to have sex when she's asleep. And there are more than 50 defendants in the case. And the husband's like, well, Your Honor, I had to because I want to be a swinger and she wouldn't agree to that. So what choice did I have? If you want to be in all seriousness, folks, seriously, listen to me. I don't want to make home porno videos, mostly because I have poor self-esteem and don't want to have to look at the playback. But I don't want to make home porno videos. I don't want to feel like that's yet one more place in my life where I have to hit a time cue and perform. I don't want to go to a party where we all put our keys in a little wicker basket and I end up with my neighbor who's always yelling at the sky. I don't want to go to an orgy or a freak out. In fact, if I come to your house and you have 100 bottles of baby oil on display, I'm suddenly going to remember that one of the kids needs a ride and I'm going to go. I don't want any of this. And I'm like, y'all do whatever you're going to do. But why does it feel like lately everything is so depraved and debauched that even a pretty progressive person who's not on her first marriage rodeo is over here going, my word, y'all are heathens and demons. Are you not? And please don't say, oh, it's always been this way. Because has it always been this way? I mean, I know the Playboy Mansion, et cetera, but has it always been this way and we just didn't know about it? What is going on here? And Lamar, do you feel this way? Max, do you feel this way? Oh man, do what you want, but I don't want to.
I'm satisfied it's always been this way somewhere, but just never where I'm living.
Yeah.
And I think because you hear about it more, people start getting it planted in their mind that they're missing out on something. Oh, maybe we should do that without any thought of what the potential negative ramifications of such a thing might be.
Listen. What about the social rules of all of this? I mean, listen, I struggle with standing at the counter of Panera Bread, making an order and having that woman look me in the eye when it says, do you want to tip 25% when all she's done is take my order? That bothers me. How much more bothered am I going to be when I'm butt naked with a bunch of other people and I don't know exactly what the rules of etiquette are here either? I mean, it's just too much. It's too much. It's just too much.
Wasn't there a joke? Why does the debutante not go to the orgy? Because of all the thank you notes?
Oh, the thank you notes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy.
We had a long time ago, we had a person who called the show and she and her husband were in a swingers club and you had to be nominated or sponsored for membership and you had to be vetted. And the rules were, there were all these rules of engagement and they didn't do it at people's houses. They typically would rent out a block of hotel rooms and it would be understood that in this room, it's, girl on girl. And in this room, it's a three-way. And in this room, it's a full-on orgy. And here's a room to rest and have a snack, right? And so she's explaining all this to me. And I just thought, man, I can't stay awake to watch a movie if we started at 9. What am I gonna? What snacks are in room number 4 that are possibly going to keep me going? And why and what are we doing and how do you get nominated for this club? Like, so many questions.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm following some of these horrific stories, and I do not in any way mean to suggest that your neighborhood swingers party has anything in common with the sex trafficking and racketeering operation that Sean Combs was running, Diddy. Because it doesn't. But I mean, I know human nature. I don't understand how people do this without feelings getting hurt. Have you ever thought about that?
I don't think you can. I think somebody's feelings are going to get hurt somewhere along the line.
You can't tell me everybody's not on for this.
But
they go along with it, but they're not into it, and there's where the feelings get hurt.
And also, you're talking about situations, Sheri, where people are being drugged and people are not of the age of consent and all those things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's
what
what
you're
I'm
talking
saying.
about. So there's a difference between that and adults all agreeing, all right, we're going to be adults. But that being said, I have to agree with you. Somebody's feelings are going to get hurt somewhere along the line. How could they not?
The part where, like, adults were all agreeing to be adults. We're going to turn now to Lamar, because Lamar has a really fun and diverse and interesting group of couple friends. Like, I've met a lot of them, and they're awesome people. They are so much fun to hang out with. They're just a good time. But they're good, hardworking, decent people. And I know y'all aren't swingers, because I know the Lord did not put that upon you, Lamar. And Carla would not tolerate it. Carla won't drink milk if it's a day past the sell-by date. You think she's having sex with the neighbors? I don't think so.
No, that's not happening.
So,
that's not happening.
So in no way hear this as, oh, I didn't know Lamar and Carla were swingers. No. But Lamar, they're not. But Lamar, of all of us, Max and Doc, Lamar has the biggest circle of couple friends, and they do stuff together a lot. Is that not correct?
Yeah, we do. We do. Yeah. I mean, like 2 or 3 couples, we'll take a trip to the beach, or, we'll get a big house. Or, we do a lot. Yeah, we do a lot of stuff. We do a lot of stuff.
You guys go to concerts together. You have dinners together. Like, it's a really wonderful thing. Now, I want you to imagine how you would introduce all of these other dynamics and feelings into that friend group. People are going to catch feelings. Like, maybe it's possible. I've never been able to understand how people could be indiscriminately, like, promiscuous without developing some feelings for the person. But then again, that's just me. That's just how I'm wired. But in your group of friends, where let's say it's 6 couples, everybody, some people are a little closer. Like, these 2 women are tighter friends than these 2 women. And these 2 guys both go duck hunting and the other 4 don't, or whatever. There's always going to be team ups and pair offs and alliances and stuff that are formed. Now turn that into an orgy or a swinging situation. How do you do that?
I believe it's impossible. It would I tell you what, you'd be better off to be a member of a club where you absolutely did not know anybody. That would be, you would have a way better chance at that than you would. And I guess there's some, they have clubs and stuff like that. I'm sure that, and maybe you apply to it or whatever and blah, blah, blah. But as far as people, because here's the deal. It's the same thing as I know along in your time, in your life, you've had a male friend that was just a great buddy of yours, right? A great buddy. You enjoyed maybe going to a movie or having lunch every once in a while. It's just, he was a great buddy. Not that there couldn't be a romantic situation, but the bottom line is, would you sacrifice a really good friend for either one of you to propose to take this further and it mess up the friendship? You wouldn't, would you?
I definitely wouldn't. And the messiness. Okay. The messiness that goes along.
And that's exactly what it would be. That's exactly what it would be with people that know it. Because first thing people, well, we know each other. And, I'm friendly with his wife. and her husband is, we're all good friends. And listen, we got friends. We play cards. We do all kinds of things. But that's it's a different story. It's a different story. Feelings get involved. It's like Max keeps saying, it's impossible for multiple people to do this thing without somebody getting hurt. It's impossible.
Because
it's impossible.
You could have a couple who both agreed that this is what they want to do, and they go and they do it, and one has a good experience and one has a bad experience.
Yes.
Then what do you do? Because then the person that had the bad experience is going, so you want to do this again, and all of a sudden they've got a rift over this.
Yeah, because one doesn't want to, and the other one does.
Right.
And no matter how much they agreed, he's all of a sudden, and buddy, the next thing you know, you've got bad situation. You just do.
So let me ask you this, because you're men. So this is a question. This is a question for men. Are you telling me that even if it was your idea, that it wouldn't make you so like jealous and hurt to know that, or to see your partner with another person? These people are wired differently, I think. I don't know. That's the part I don't understand.
Well, you are assuming that that isn't some kind of turn on for somebody. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, Lord. Oh, God, I'm so
no matter what, no matter how confident you are, I don't care what, it's going to hit your mind. I just wonder, is she having more fun with him than she's having with me?
That's what I'm saying. And
the next time we're having fun, am I thinking, would you rather be having fun? I mean, all of a sudden, it's a no. That's, man, there's a reason that doesn't work. There's just a reason it doesn't work.
Max, it never occurred to me that the jealousy could be part of the arousal.
Yes.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I am more vanilla than a bag of Jet Puff marshmallows in a blizzard, because that would not have ever even, hey Kev, you know what would really turn me on? Being real jealous. Like, what? No. And Kevin would hate that. Oh my God, that would never do it for him. So these are people, I have to say, these are people that are far more like cool or enlightened or confident or whatever than I'm going to be, because I'm a people pleaser, and you can't bring a people pleaser to an orgy. It sounds like a good idea, right?
No.
Doesn't it sound like a good idea? Like, oh, I've got a people pleaser friend. Let's bring her to the orgy. It sounds like a plan, but it
sounds like the setup for a joke.
Yeah. A clinically depressed man and a people pleaser walk into an orgy. But that like all of that, and I've been bombarded, like everybody who is, in the news world, I've just been bombarded with and confronted with over and over again, like, oh, there's a wide spectrum of appetites and behaviors. And of course, if you dial it up to the extreme and we cross the line into the criminal, which is what has happened in both France and in the Sean Combs case, but not everything that's non-conventional is criminal, obviously, right?
But Sheri, here's the thing. For most people, if they have children at home and they have jobs and they have a house to keep up and all of those things, they don't have time for this. They're so exhausted from everything else that they're doing. It's like, oh, no, let's just go to bed. Let's get some sleep.
That's the other thing. Like, I admire, I'll read, I'm all over the internet, like every waking minute of every day. It's part of my job. And so I'll be on Reddit or something. I'm addicted to Reddit, and I'll be on Reddit, and it'll be like a thread about, my husband and I went to a key party. It was his idea, and now he's mad because my neighbor Josh and I. Well, of course he's mad because you hooked up with your neighbor Josh right in front of him. How do you not think that's going to happen? How do you, okay, so a million years ago, I'm in between college and grad school, and I'm in Philadelphia, and I get a phone call, and it's an opportunity to do a job in Los Angeles. So my friend and I, we drive across country and we go because, this is like we are young and free and unencumbered. And if not now, then we'll maybe never. So we end up renting an apartment in West Hollywood, and we slept on the floor. Like we had nothing. We had nothing but a dream. And so the maintenance man at the apartment complex where we rented, he came in and he did some things after we moved in, and he was very friendly, and he's maybe 10, 12 years older than we were at the time. He was probably in his mid 30s and we were like 20. So, he kind of went above and beyond. He called us the girls. Girls, I know I couldn't help but notice that blah 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 blah. And so I replaced the fan in the bedroom or whatever. Super duper nice guy. And this goes on for a couple of weeks. Every time we see him, now the thing that we went to LA for fell through. So now we're scrambling to find part-time jobs and figure it out because we're there. And so, we're seeing this guy around the apartment building, and he's real nice. Hey girls, how's it going? Hey girls, I left a bag of oranges from our tree, by your door, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
So one day he comes over and he says, I've been telling my wife about you guys, and she said she really knows what it's like to just be starting out, and was wondering if you wanted to come for dinner. So we were starving, we were struggling. And of course we wanted to go for dinner. We would have gone to Squeaky Fromm's house for dinner, Lamar. I mean, it was it was dinner.
Yeah.
So we went, and his wife was nice. But as soon as we walked into they lived in a townhouse in the San Fernando Valley. And as soon as we walked in, the vibe was so weird, just a very weird vibe. The way they had decorated the apartment, I'm talking, those curvy chaise lounge things that
Yes.
are in the Addams Family or a porn movie or whatever. They had a
Yes.
pair of those in leopard print upholstery. Very, very cool, very chic, but just a million odd things. Black velvet paintings on the wall, tons of tapestries, loads of candles, a million plants. It was kind of like Southern California hippie meets kind of goth tarot reader on Bourbon Street vibe. And the two of them are weird together. And they don't have any children, but they call each other Mama and Papa.
Mm.
And they're only in their 30s, right? Papa, maybe you want to open another bottle. And so long, you can see where this is going, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They wanted us to, and it took more than one dinner for them to make the ask. We were weirded out and a little uncomfortable, but we were young and didn't know how to say no. And we didn't want to come off as rude or impolite or unappreciative. These people were being kind and they were offering us hospitality. And we were all alone, just the two of us, 2,000 miles from home and in a very difficult place. LA is a difficult place. So we accept another invitation and go to dinner again. We accept a third invitation for dinner and board games. And we're all sitting on the floor and we're playing Trivial Pursuit. And here comes the ask. Would we like to join them in some intimacy? And I have never wanted to not know my vocabulary words more than I did in that moment. I very much wanted to not know what that meant. And my friend and I are looking at each other and we're so scared and we're in their house and they've been so kind, but we most definitely do not want to have a four-way with these people. And you have to, here's something they don't teach you in school: how to graciously decline a four-way from the maintenance man at your apartment building and his wife without seeming judgy or
Are
rude.
you still playing the board game at this time? Are you still playing the board game?
They switched to
Yeah.
Twister by then.
Yeah.
Lamar.
Well, do you just go ahead and get the dice and you're thinking, well, let me roll the dice and hold on, just give me a second. Let me roll the dice.
The way that they received our polite refusal tells you what a grooming setup this was. Because we were like, oh my God, no, thank you so much. Like, oh my gosh, that's so flattering. But my friend's like, I have a boyfriend. Right. And the wife is like, I told you they were too young. They're just not mature enough. So, like, what is it that you want the most when you're 20 years old, sitting around having a glass of wine with a couple of adults who own their own apartment in Los Angeles?
You want to be grown.
You don't want to be a baby. You want to be grown. You want to be cool. You want to be you want to be all of the things that they just told you that you're not. And I'm so glad that the two of us, without saying a word, looked at each other and made the decision in that instant. Oh yeah, I guess we are babies. I guess we are too immature for this, because we were so scared and so upset. And when we left and drove back through the valley over to our apartment, we were scared now in another way that there would be some retribution, because this dude was the handyman at our apartment complex. Yeah. And what would happen to us as a result of declining his generous offer to get into bed with him and his wife. This is the memory that I go back to when I think about key parties and just some of this just batshit like free love craziness that, and Max will know what I mean. No one who's been to Catholic school really is okay with this. Like, the programming runs deep,
You could see how somebody who didn't have very good self-worth felt that they would have to, because of the awkwardness of saying no. Do you see what I mean?
It was that bag of oranges. It was the whole bag of oranges. Which, you got to keep that in account.
We, as we processed it, came to be convinced that we were not the first two girls that had been put in this. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We were not the first.
No.
They were two. As I look back on it, now that I'm an adult, as I look back on it, I see how slick it was and how easily we were maneuvered, right? We were not the first. And we certainly wouldn't be the last either. Just you take your shot, right? You miss every shot you don't take. Isn't that one of those sporty ball analogies that y'all like?
And probably they didn't take it. They didn't take it bad. I mean, they knew there was a chance that it might work or it might not. So, You
know what, Lamar? They didn't take it bad, but something did change. This man who had been going out of his way to be friendly and helpful, the next time we saw him, he barely acknowledged. Yeah. Like there was no, hey, hello, how's it going?
Well, there's some embarrassment to it. There has to be some embarrassment. And rejection.
I just felt like the only reason he had any time for us is because he was grooming us. And the minute we declined, then it was move on to the next target. And it's a very sick, anybody who's been in a similar situation where you realize, oh, I'm out of my depth here and I can't stay in this room. These people are recruiting me or grooming me for something. Anyone who's been in that situation knows that the coldness, like a switch, gets flipped when you don't go along with the grooming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
how long did y'all stay in that apartment?
So we moved in like February, and in July of that same year, I had called home. This was before cell phones, and I had called home on the payphone to talk to my grandma Blackhair, and she said, "Honey, the chairman of your department at Temple called looking for you. Here's a number. He wants you to call him back." Well, I mean, I graduated from Temple, right?
Yeah.
And so I just, you know what I thought? I thought, oh, I didn't pay some fees or sign a paper. And so I have to do that or they're going to take my diploma back. And so I waited till it was like an okay time on the East Coast. And I called him and he said, what are you doing in Los Angeles? I said, failing abysmally. How about you? And he said, come back to school. I'll give you a full tuition assistantship, meaning they would pay all my tuition and I would teach on the undergraduate level. It was a full free ride to graduate school. So we packed up our stuff 3 weeks later and we drove back east and I went back to school. And I'm so thankful for that because had I not done that, I probably would have stayed on the West Coast for a long time and my life would look very different than it does today. And not better, by the way. My life would look different, but not better. And so that's one of those things that happens when you're like young and stupid. And I was extra young and twice as stupid. So, and you kind of file it away, but it made me jumpy. It made me suspicious. Like it made me suspicious of people who would just be like, hey, why don't you come on over? Why don't you come on over, meet the family and have dinner? Why don't you, hey, listen, why don't we get together for a drink? Like it made me, I was already a mistrustful person because of my life circumstances and it made it worse. And it also made me question myself. Like, am I a prude? Am I frigid? Is there something wrong with me that I don't like that this just makes me feel scared and kind of nauseous instead of like, ooh, let's take a walk on the wild side. Wait, I mean, have you not ever been in a situation like that?
I think we were in a situation like that many, many years ago when my first marriage. We're at the Myrtle Beach for a long weekend, and we're at the Holiday Inn, and one of the beach bands was playing. It was awesome. I mean, it was awesome. And the room was packed. There was nowhere to sit. So we're just standing up against the wall. We've got a drink, and we're listening to the band or whatever. And so I noticed this guy, him and his wife were sitting at a table, and they had 2 empty chairs, and he kept looking at me, and then he sort of got my attention. And I mean, there's a ton of people. And he gets up and walks over, and he said, "We've got 2 chairs over here if y'all want to come sit." And we're like, "Okay."
Wow,
and
yeah.
so we went over there and sat, and it was a weird conversation. It was never anything that you can put your fingers on, but there was the conversation could have went in multiple directions. You know what I'm saying? And so, we sat there and we had a couple of drinks and whatever, and listened to the band. And it was getting sort of late. Then the band was about to wrap up or whatever. And so, we say, hey, thank you very much, So we go back to our rooms. And so I hadn't said anything. And my first wife hadn't said anything. And so we get in the room. She goes, that feels sort of weird to you? And I said, yeah, I thought maybe I was the only one that noticed it. And so we decided that they were sort of laying it out there to, and I'm like, whoa. We have to get the hell out of here. My little country ass, he can't even be doing that shit. I mean, so yeah.
Did you feel
close. That was
like,
as close as but I felt it though. I felt it. It was weird.
Like human beings, we're mammals, right? And we have evolved to have certain senses, instincts, and intuitions about when we're safe and when we're not safe, right? We've all felt that weird feeling of being watched, or you're taking a walk and then suddenly you feel uneasy. Like we all do that, right?
That lizard part of your brain, the lizard brain. The
amygdala, right? So, even though you don't understand exactly what's happening, your spidey senses are vibrating. Yeah. And what people who are kind of feeling you out or grooming or maneuvering, they are using very careful language. So there's nothing, it's slippery. There's nothing you can point to and say, wait, it sounds like y'all are wanting to get into an orgy situation or whatever, right? And if you call them on it, then it's like, what is wrong with you? We're just being friendly. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. But if all of a sudden it opens up to start joking back and forth and back, I see how it could have went. I mean, I do. But it just, it was weird. It was really weird. And here's the other thing. I have enough distrust that to get somebody that I don't know to get me to go back to a room where I can walk in and they can close the door and kill me. You know what I'm saying? That's out. So see, I could never be hooked up in that situation by strangers, even if I wanted to, because I'm thinking they're going to kill me. I mean,
your imagination.
I watched too much
Dateline.
Too much Dateline. I'm telling you, I've been watching Dateline and those kind of shows all my life. I'm figuring that's why. Listen, I have never yet requested an Uber. I don't have the app. I don't do nothing about it. If we go somewhere, Carla, she'll pull up an Uber. I never do that because in my head, every Uber driver is going to kill me. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Uber people, they're going to kill me.
You're going to have some trust with that.
Well, I
can tell you, the only time I really use Uber is when I'm traveling, typically for work, because I'll be by myself. I'll land some airport and take an Uber to the hotel. And maybe I'm going to meet Tony there. Or if we're lucky, we meet at the airport and go together. But when I call an Uber and it comes, or a Lyft, if you think that I haven't studied who is supposedly coming to pick me up and checked out the license plate and the car and their name and everything else, because
Carla puts them through a rigorous questioning before we get in the car.
Did you have this about taxi cabs before there was Uber?
No.
And I mean, it's at least with Uber, you can look at it and see how the person's been rated, right? You can,
But here's the thing.
Listen. I can look on Amazon and see how my order's been rated, but I don't know if that's true reviews or not. I'm still alive, brother. I'm still alive.
We grew up in a world, Max, where you don't get in a stranger's car. And now we have an app on our phone that says, send a stranger in a car to me, please.
Yeah.
See, it does make you a little nervous.
But okay. But if you didn't have the same sort of apprehension about getting into a cab, you flag one down on the road, anything could happen there. You don't know what's going on. At least at Uber, the person has to be vetted. They're getting it through the app. There are those ratings and all that other stuff that's on there. I feel like you're even more safe.
The cab is a bright yellow thing that looks like it's a business situation. The Uber guy pulls up in some sort of Camry situation that I have no idea what. No, I don't know. And listen, let me tell you something. I couldn't be an Uber driver. I could not be an Uber driver because I would assume that everybody that I picked up was going to kill me. And they're sitting behind me, so I can't keep my eye on them. So I could never do that. No. Oh, no. Couldn't do it.
You know what doesn't help, Lamar? So Lamar and I went to Phoenix for a work conference, and we went to a Diamondbacks game. It was part of a team building exercise. And Lamar and I took an Uber because we're on East Coast time. It's like 2:00 in the morning for us now. We're delirious. So we took an Uber back to the hotel, and the Uber driver shows up in, what was that? What kind? You remember what kind of banger minivan that was?
It was like an Astro van from, I don't know. I don't think you can get parts for it now. I don't know. I mean, it was some age, and it was, but it's just a hardworking guy. I have to say, we had of course, I wasn't so worried until we got in the car, and then all of a sudden, her and him started connecting over this UFO situation, and they're both. I mean, this guy was a genius, was he not? Did you not think he was? He was. Max, all that stuff that Sheri talks all the time, that she knows so much about. This guy, I mean, oh my gosh, they start talking in the lingo, and I thought, is this a big... the only reason I'm doing this show is for her to get me out here to Phoenix, and now this is one of the guys, and they're both... am I going to make it? Yeah. I was so happy when we got to the place and got out, and I was still alive because it was scary.
Lamar's like, Do you often get an Uber that's a janky old minivan? No, this is a first for me too.
But I mean, they were talking the same. Every conspiracy, every possible thing. They were finishing each other's sentences, Max. I'm telling you, it was crazy.
It was awesome.
So your sense about the people that wanted to have the orgy right on target, your sense about the Uber driver killing you or dropping you out in the desert, not so real.
Well, let me tell you something. My lizard brain will tell you this. I didn't end up in them people's hotel room alive or raped, and I made it alive out of all the rides I've taken. So it's working. Okay, it's working. No matter what you think, it's working.
Yeah, it's like, again, like y'all do whatever, be consenting adults and be safe and make sure that everybody is on board with whatever it is that y'all are going to be getting up to. It's just not for me. I think I'm too tired, Lamar. I think I'm too tired to be part of an orgy. I'm a people pleaser, and I'm chronically exhausted, and I just can't. I would rather, if you gave me the choice again right now, you're on the street corner, the janky minivan with the alien conspiracy Skinwalker Ranch dude is coming.
Yeah.
Or the couple that seems really nice and really friendly and really helpful, but they're grooming you for a three-way is coming. I'm taking my chances in the janky UFO van.
Oh, yeah. That's your comfort zone. That's your comfort zone.
Yeah. Like that guy, not only was he not going to hurt us, Max, he was so happy to have like a fellow traveler in his car.
Oh, God. Oh, my gosh. Yes.
We were finishing each other's sentences. We were. He was like, oh, this is the best night ever. And Lamar's like, how much longer do you think before the hotel?
They've read the same books. I mean, oh my gosh, it was, of all the Uber drivers in Phoenix, we get the guy. It's really funny because within 30 seconds of being in there, they're both start talking about the same thing. And I mean, they had such a wonderful conversation. I had no idea what was going on, but they were having a great conversation.
What was it that triggered it? Like, how did I know that I was with my people?
Okay. Because he started explaining how Uber has changed how they're treating and compensating their drivers. Because it used to pay a lot more money. Yeah. But once it got going, then they started, and it was the whole corporate structure. And Max, when somebody says something terrible about the corporate structure, I mean, she's like, you're right. I understand exactly what you're saying. Then the next thing I know, it's the Illuminati. And I mean, it went to all branches. It was awesome to see. It really was.
I am here to tell you, if you don't think the man is screwing you, you might be the man.
If Bob had been with us, he would have leaped out if he slowed down to 12 miles an hour. He would have jumped out. He would have jumped out of the car because it was a lot going on. I swear it was.
Bob would have done it, tuck and roll. But when someone tells me how they're being oppressed by their corporate overlords, I'm like, yes, my brother. Yes.
And then he says something about, have you read such and such? And she says, yes. Have you read such and such? He goes, oh yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to back. Let me sit here and observe this deal. It was great.
Yeah, those are my people. The folks that want to like have Trivial Pursuit night and then an orgy, not my people.
No.
The people that are driving around thinking about Skinwalker Ranch, my people. And Lamar, I want you to now make the Sophie's choice. Lamar, do you want to be with the Trivial Pursuit orgy people, or do you want to be in the janky minivan talking about the Illuminati?
I don't feel like there's any way possible I could disappoint anybody in the janky minivan. Okay, I cannot disappoint anybody in the janky minivan. So I think I'm going to go that direction because I don't want to disappoint. I really don't.
So listen, everybody, we thought we needed to do this episode of the Oddcast so you'd all stop inviting Lamar to your orgies, okay? Because he's not here for it. All right.
It's embarrassing when you ask and I decline. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's just embarrassing.
He's a people pleaser too, so you have to be careful.
Very awkward.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Oddcast. We'll have a brand new one for you Friday, Talkin' Lamar, along with a brand new True Weird Stuff. Our website is BOBANDSHERI.com. And if you are heading out to a giant sex party tonight, remember, it never hurts to keep your manners up front and send a little thank you note to the folks hosting. We'll see you on the next Oddcast.